Morning. Just thought I'd do another update on how I'm progressing and what's happening in my life. So this week I got to meet the MNDAQ nurse, which is the Motor Neurons Disease Association Queensland. She came over with a lot of forms and a lot of information. I was a bit down that day because I had to prepare for her to turn up. So that meant I had to sit down and read a lot of information about the disease that I was diagnosed with. And but when she came here, it was not too bad, you know. There's so much variation with this diagnosis. She told me that she knows one person that's had this diagnosis for near on 10 years, and they had a small progression of loss in use of limbs. Nothing since. There's another one she knew died within 9 weeks. So I mean, the variations between what really goes on. Some get affected in the throat and the lungs very early and can't talk. I'm the other type that will get it in the legs and other parts of limbs. Will it progress anymore? You know, it's so unknown. It's probably the scariest part of the whole thing, is the fact is that you don't really know which way things are going to go, what's going to happen. You know, I watched a movie the other day, and it was called The Guitar, and it's about a girl that got cancer, throat cancer, and she was given 2 months to live. And she goes nuts and basically gives up a job, and then goes out and has a ball. Uses the almighty credit card, packs the cards to the hilt until she runs out of money, and then she gets back into, she always had a childhood dream of being a guitar player. And anyway, so she finally went out and got this guitar and learned how to play guitar. She lost the unit and you know, all the stuff and everything got repossessed because she had no job. But in the end, she found her passion and she ended up playing in a band. The end of it was that the tumour had gone away. So in a lot of the stuff and literature I've been reading, it talks about the emotional self and the power of the mind and how you feel about things. And pretty much from the get-go, I have been pretty well bugger that. I'm not going to just curl my toes up and die. It's just not me. It's just not in me to do that. So as far as it worked out, and that's hence why I went straight to fruit and just water. And good morning, my morning beverage. There's another little short video you can have a look at that shows you what's in it, but basically it's just pure fruit, and this time around, instead of just eating it straight, I blended it up a little bit. So that was sort of the beginning of the week, and my beloved wife, God bless her soul, has bombarded me with that much information. I'm kind of a bit at the moment overloaded with information and trying to get my head around a lot of different types of modalities and understanding. But probably the biggest one that was thrown at me was a doctor a long time ago, Dr. Walker. Did a study way back in very early days on nutrition and longevity of life if you eat correctly. And the interesting part is this doctor died at a ripe old age of 109. So he put his money where his mouth is, and he proved it. There's other ones around by the name of Don Tolman, who actually met this gentleman and was after the same sort of information, and that's why Don Tolman has sort of carried on this thing. And now in Australia especially, there's a Tyler Tolman, which is his son, and he does 30-day fasts in Bali and all that sort of stuff. If you've got any sort of illnesses, I'd highly recommend looking into these gentlemen. As I've said before, within the first 5 days of going straight to fruit, so I was diagnosed on the Friday, by Saturday morning I'd turned straight to fruit. I found that the tremors, because I used to twitch everywhere like mad, I found within that first week that they dropped away. If you had a rating from 1 to 10, they were at 10, and they're at about maybe 1.5, maybe 2. So I found that as a big change in me. I spent that time up with Schindler doing a nervous massage, which has helped me immensely with my balance type of thing. A bit hard to explain when you start losing strength in your legs and the use of your legs. You kind of wobble around a lot and you don't have much balance. And also I noticed too, a point that he did make, that for a very long time I'd get on a boat and I'd get seasick and stuff like that, or in a car and I'd look down and read a map or whatever, I'd get sick. And from what he was telling me, I have an imbalance. I'll call it the middle ear. He's German, so he's a bit hard to understand, but I'm guessing he's talking about the middle ear. Or it could be the medulla oblongata. It's right at the base of the brain that basically operates your whole nervous system. And he's talking about there's an imbalance in there. And funny enough, ever since that week of intensive therapy, I've noticed that my balance, maybe my legs aren't so flash because I went to the gym Sunday and I've paid for it most of the week now. It's now Friday, and I only spent 5 minutes on a what do they call them things, a treadly thing, when you sort of stand on, you walk on. And then I spent, I think it was 10 or 15 minutes on one of the bikes on low, just to try and get my legs to work. And you know, the old fatigue comes in, and then all the aches and pains because I haven't used the muscles in so long properly. So I paid for it for nearly a week. But anyway, so the balance side of things in my head, I seem to be brighter, more alert. I'm an avid reader now. You can't see, but there's probably about 8 or 9 books here at the moment that I'm going through on different subjects that I'm interested in. And then on, so I found that balance side of it could be, when I think back to it, I remember sailing as a kid, and with my father on yachts in the Sydney Harbour and all that sort of stuff. And I remember being down below and getting tossed around all over the countryside in storms and stuff and never getting sick. And what he's talking about, the imbalance, is like filling a cup up of traumas. And about 18, 19 years old, I had a major car accident, went off a cliff, got knocked out, and then there was a couple of car accidents after that. And about 2 years ago, I got attacked by some guy on ice in a coffee club down at the Gold Coast, and got thumped in the head quite a lot. Yeah, sort of jumped on me when I wasn't looking at him. And he says that's like a cup fills and overflows. That's it, done. And it's now thrown my balance out. So I remember, and I've read in other articles where it says after traumas, some of this ALS can be caused by traumas, and it's usually to the limb or whatever part that has been affected, and it takes approximately 12 months to affect. And the funny part is that happened in October 2015, and then the first cramp that I got, and I got in about July, August 2016. So this started over 12 months ago. Or about 12 months ago, what am I saying? I'm at the end of July now. So in between times, since the legs started and the beginning of this year, we went on a holiday to Magnetic Island, and we went on a little boat tour that sort of took us around the island and showed us all the areas. We did a bit of diving, a bit of swimming, snorkeling and stuff like that. And I found that while I was snorkeling, I got sick. How the hell do you get seasick snorkeling, and then on the boat I got seasick and, you know, fed the fish. And then the next day we went jet skiing, and I got sick again, like 5 seconds into the boat on the jet ski. So I suppose if you think about it that way, and also every time I used to look down in a car, I'd get seasick, or if I wasn't driving, I'd get seasick in the passenger seat. Car sick in a passenger seat. So it makes sense, you know. And when we drove back from Malanda and drove, was basically after I had it like a Friday morning. I had the massages. I had 3 sessions, so I was a bit knackered coming out. But I realised afterwards, once we actually found where we were staying, because we decided to stay in Townsville, I had my head down and I was looking at caravan parks and lodgings that we could stay at. And I didn't realise until I actually got out of the car, I'd actually been driving along, looking down, trying to work out where we're going, and there was not one inkling or one iota of me being sick at all. So, you know, that was pretty interesting. So I'm sort of hanging to go out in a boat again, so I'm going to have to look into that. So that was sort of that, and then sort of as the time come on Tuesday, probably the biggest thing and the most weirdest thing is I finally went in and saw the boss and resigned, because I can't really work that much more anyway. And you know, when you've got this sort of thing dangling around the head, you have no, I don't know how to explain it when someone tells you that you've got this amount of time to live. But that amount of time can vary immensely, and trying to get your head around it just drives you mad. The good part is that I don't really dwell on it too much anymore, but occasionally you sort of, you know, like, I'd like to do this and I'd like to do that. Am I going to be capable? Am I going to be still breathing? You know, you haven't got a bloody clue. You don't know what's going to happen because they have no idea. So that's probably the hardest thing, is the unknowing of what this diagnosis is going to do. So the only thing I could do is I resigned now, because a lot of other doors have now opened for me through the government, so I'll get my tax back. But it's a very strange sort of place to be. I've spoken to a couple of people that have had cancer in the past, and they kind of understand the whole, you know, when you get that sentence put down to you that you may or may not be living this long. Your viewpoints change a hell of a lot. I think I've already said that before. Acceptance is probably the key to moving forward. You've got to accept the fact that either this has happened to you or you've done this to yourself, and it seems to be, from the literature I've read, is more caused by yourself and emotions or other sorts of things. If you eat toxic food, or you know, you've got too much heavy metals in your body, can cause it. And it all depends on how you eat and your emotions, and how you feel about life and how you feel about your situation in life causes a lot of your grief, which in the long run gives you this magical disease. So that's probably the hardest part, the unknown, not knowing where you're going, what you're doing. Yeah, so there's no point in working. So now I'm on the path of wellness. I'm going to do the best I can do by my body and feed it the best and most nutritionist food I can. And then of course I'll work on the mind and my attitude towards life, and taking every moment as it comes, because there is no tomorrow, so there's only now. So I'm at the moment trying to catch up on so much reading that I haven't done for ages. There's so much stuff I'm interested in, so I'm sort of getting that into me. I've got some stuff in my studio. I'm organising my music. I'm pulling out my bass now because for the last 6 years I haven't been able to play in bands because of my workload, because of my weird rosters. You're working most of the weekends, and now I'm free. So I can go back to my passions that I love. The funny part is that, you know, I don't know, if you have sort of ideas of where you should be going, what you should be doing in life, I've always gone probably the wrong way. And music I started to get back into a while back, and sort of drifted away from it again because of, you know, not liking where I am, what I'm doing, you know how it is, pressures of life. And the funny part is, as soon as I was basically diagnosed with this, within that first week I got a message from a friend of mine, Vicky, introducing me to another lady by the name of Kathleen. And this lady does meditations with crystal bowls, and she's asked me to do a CD for her and record her and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of like, you know, I've gone this way over here, and then all of a sudden it's going, no, you should really be going this way, and we'll give you a hand, you know, and then it's like going that way. And that started last week, and the lady's coming today, this afternoon. And I'm looking forward to, you know, if you've ever heard crystal bowls in a room and how it resonates, it's just beautiful. And then also in recent days, I have stuff on Instagram, and I was playing one of my Native American flutes. I was playing one of these, but I was actually playing this flute, and I just put it up on Instagram, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 months ago. Then all of a sudden a gentleman on Instagram heard it and loved it, and he's a music producer and he does film scores and stuff like that, and he made a comment and CC'd it to a friend of his, or a colleague, I don't know if it's a friend, sorry, that he liked the sound and what do you think, and these two guys now would like to in the future collaborate with me, and I play my flutes to a music score. So, you know, you sort of start wondering if there are other influences in your life that will go along and point you in the right direction. You know, you ignore all the influences are saying you should be going this way, and you go, yeah, but I've got to go this way because I've got to make money, I've got to do blah, 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 and all this sort of junk you've got to do. And then it's gone, well, okay, you've now got this, so you can't do that anyway, so that direction you were following is now finished. We reckon you should do that. And hopefully with looking after my body, my health, that's why I do the fruit. Fruit basically is, juicing is probably even better. When you're ill, it takes a lot of energy to digest food. So if you're eating great big chunks of steak and sausages and heavy foods, the body immune system can't fix whatever the problem is, and spends all its time digesting food and trying to get that through your system. So by alleviating that and going either water fast, juice fast, or fruit, I'm trying to do it a bit more easier with fruit, it basically goes straight in, you just gives you pure energy, and your body then can work on itself. Hence why my twitches have now basically gone to near nothing. And I'm not kidding, when they were going before, I'd be twitching everywhere all the time, non-stop, wouldn't stop. It drove me absolutely insane. And that went on for a long time. It's only since the diagnosis that I know what it was, and then I can go and start doing something about it. So I've got that now starting to point in a different direction. So it's, hey, what about this? And it's sort of like, I mean, the beautiful part is now I don't know how to explain it, I'm free. Now, because of my strange roster and the work I've been doing for so many years, you missed out on so much. People would say, oh, I've got a blah blah on, whatever it is, on the weekend, oh, can you make it? And you'd go and look at your, no, sorry, I'm working. No, I'm working. No, I'm working. No, I'm working. That's all I did for 6 years. No, I'm working. No, I'm working. No, I'm working. So you missed out on all these social events, being out with people, and then you end up more enclosed in yourself, because all you do is basically go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. Then when you've got your days off, you're too stuffed to do anything. Now we can go, oh, well, I don't have to go here, don't have to do that, and just put it in a little diary. I have to use a diary at the moment because in between family and friends coming to visit and going up to Malander, I'll go to Malander at the end of next week, got the daughter coming in on Monday, then a couple of weeks I've got the other part of my family's coming up to visit. So you constantly got stuff going on, then I've got to go back to Malander again, so there's stuff going on. Then I'm going to start working with this lady with Crystal Bowls and doing recordings for her and organising that. So you got to kind of start penciling it in now so you can get everything in. But other than that, not much has changed. My head's a hell of a lot clearer. I feel balanced in the head, even though the legs don't work too flash. I'm starting to get my legs back now. It's only taken nearly a week, so I've got to be careful with the old training part. I'm probably going to have another bash tomorrow, I think. Just a light little workout again. I've got to keep the legs working. I can't, because all I do is I get up and work, walk and do a few things, and you get fatigued, the leg starts carrying on, then it makes you feel lethargic, then you've got to go and sit down. Then they rest a bit, then you go and do a bit more. So I've got to be careful with that. That's just how it is. You've got to be happy with your body. You've got to, work with it. You don't get cranky at it. I used to get cranky when I first got this shit. It used to drive me nuts. Why doesn't the leg work? What the hell's going on here? It used to drive me insane. And I used to get cranky at myself, and it's probably the biggest mistake you could ever do is getting cranky at yourself. That's basically putting bad feelings towards yourself, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. Not much else to talk about at the moment. I'm feeling good, pretty upbeat most of the time. Like I said, I've had a couple of days down, feeling a bit down, but it's kind of expected, isn't it? Other than that, you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.